Hi, my name is Jesse Lee. I'm the CEO of Brooklyn Vendor Assurance. And we get the question, what do you do about this vendor tail? Well, we think that some recent cutting edge technology combined with a slight shift in resourcing and the deployment of resources can bring about a more optimized, cost optimized, service optimized vendor tail pretty quickly. That box captures the problem. Our people are devoted to the stuff on the left, as we talked about. We wish and kind of need them to do the same sort of activities to the right-of-ways, and that would take 2 to 3 times more resource, and it would take 4 to 6 times more resource to really cover the risk and the opportunities. It's also the innovation and optimization opportunities across the tail. That's the shape of the problem, but that's our resource, what to do. Now, as I said at the beginning, well, what to do is to leverage some new capability that exists and to change thinking a bit. Change thinking looks like this. What if we could adjust our op model to keep the same shape of the problem, but put those people on the most value add activities, the thinking, the strategizing, the important activities that the team is so good at doing? Would be nice if we could take away some of the drudgery and free them up to do the higher value add activities, stretching across that 20 or 30% that they need to be able to do. Would be nice if we could automate, in other words, the lower value activities. And it's actually more possible than you'd think, right? The CIs here means the critical and important vendors. You could say the strategic and critical, like was in that first part of the supply chain, right? So a lot of them, they may be critical, but it just works, right? They're just things that keep ticking over. They just need to be checked on. And that could be automated more than it is. There may be a whole host of pretty simple contract relationships, simple services, simple products that do need oversight and do need inspection more than just, a quick think and act when the contract ticks over. You do need controls, in other words, and you do want to be aware of the problems and manage them by exception. Well, if you could do that, you could mostly devote that existing team to those higher activities, higher value activities, but you would need some pretty darn special robotic capabilities and automation to cover the whole shape of the problem. Now we've got the team on top and automation that doesn't maybe handle everything, but handles a lot from opening to close, and then by exception, and only by, usually by exception, forward into the existing team to cover off. If we could cover that, then we have tackled our vendor tail challenge, right? And we've taken a lot of boring work off the plate anyway for the stuff that's not purely in the tail. That is part of why Brooklyn exists, right? We've stared down the pit of that problem for over a decade, and eventually wanted to bring forward something purpose-built to take that on, right? That's really good at onboarding those suppliers at scale, way down into that tail. That doesn't constrain you by users, because after all, more automation should mean fewer users as more activities are taken over by robotics. That can actually engage and meaningfully engage, more than a survey engages, but meaningfully engage robotically, covering off that which can be done unless and until exceptions have to be raised, right? That either is a system of record or cleanly, clearly, intuitively connects to your systems of record, so you can quickly dive in and handle things that need handling in that vendor tail. And that is just chock full with best practices that push towards the suppliers, your own people managing it, good frameworks for light touch management across the vendor tail. Those are the capabilities we believe that need to be at your fingertips if you're gonna tackle that shape of a problem and bring robotics and automation to the bottom half. That is how we look at this vendor tail construct, the challenge of meeting it. Now, that vendor tail challenge, it was red at the bottom, right? Risk. But I also said opportunity. There's opportunity in there. When your team is free to work on higher value activities, and when you have automation that pulls data from existing systems of record or directly from those suppliers you don't have time to talk to, why you can then bring forward some really nice new capability. For instance, here's one where all the way through is the customer now, all the way through a vendor tail, far beyond what the people, the experts usually interact with. You have Brooklyn, this platform that's connecting supplier sustainability ratings with the central system management, so that when the team doing high value activities need to know and see what's in flight and where they're out of line with existing policy, so they can get a sustainable supply chain picture and pathway and roadmap, well, then you need vendor tail awareness, right? So that's what comes together in a purpose-built platform like this, without a lot of time taken by the customer themselves. We've got, across the tail, a picture of what sustainability ratings look like. Dive into any particular supplier that you do or don't usually talk with, and it's presenting summary information that's one more layer deep. And then from there, if you want, head on over to the system of record. In this case, it's Integrity Next. Brooklyn integrates with Integrity Next. One can always head into the existing report of those specialists, but it would be in a platform like Brooklyn where you would synthesize the granular assessment activity going on there to give management level optics, and for the supply chain manager to, with it, no prep, in an instant, be able to showcase the sustainability progress against a roadmap for all the business reasons that we discussed. That's the sort of extra value add activity you get by virtue of tackling the vendor tail challenge and doing so with purpose-built technology. That's what Brooklyn brings forward to market. That's part of why we're here. That's what vendor ops means to us. And I thank you for your attention and time. I hope this was helpful.
To keep up with the latest Brooklyn Vendor Assurance news, subscribe here and follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter. Links in the description below.